I come back on a Friday.
Yo, YouTube family, what's the word, man? I hope everybody's been well. I hope everybody had a smooth New Year's, and y'all got to bring in the New Year's with some, some positivity. Whether if you were by yourself or if you were with loved ones, whatever the case may be, I hope that you guys were safe and that you guys had a good time. This is probably going to be one of my shorter videos, and I really just wanted to open up a little discussion practically. And the topic, if you didn't know, is going to be the title and the thumbnail, whatever the case may be. And that's is Sparking Zero competitive. Before we end up getting into it, if you guys end up liking content like this, please hit that sub button. I would definitely appreciate it. And if you guys have any points or things that you want to end up, discussing it, if y'all want to discuss what we're talking about in the video, put it down in the comments, man. Whether if y'all agree or disagree. I'm One Take Drake, and it's late. I've been busy all day, so we about to go ahead and do this. Don't mind me though. But yeah, let me pull up my notes real quick. Because there's really only three main talking points that I want to discuss, really, and they're on both sides of the argument on if it's competitive or if it's not. Now, if you ask me, I'm gonna just give my answer right away. I don't think, as of right now, Sparking Zero is competitive. I do believe that it can be a competitive game because we have a lot of games that came out and they weren't made necessarily with competitive in mind, right? Smash Bros is definitely one of them that you can end up putting in there, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other games that you guys can end up thinking of off the top of your head that ended up going competitive, but it wasn't made with that in mind. Hell, I think I can even say Call of Duty. You know what I mean? It wasn't until people started taking the game a bit more serious they realized they had a hardcore fan base where they was like, yo, we can make it competitive for this. You know what I mean? And so as of right now, the way the game is, I don't think that it is competitive, and is mainly due to mechanical issues with the game, right? If certain things are changed mechanically by the devs, then I feel like we'll be able to reach that competitive state for the game. But there's some more work that has to be done, pretty much. But to get to those points that I wanted to talk about, these are practically big talking points that I hear the community normally bring up when this conversation is broached, and I just wanted to give my opinions on it. And like I said, if depending on, or not depending on, whatever you guys end up feeling practically about this, let me know down in the comments so we can chop it up about it. But the first point is going to be to the point of people saying that the game has to be competitive. Well, I have 2 points for why people say that the game is competitive, and I'm going to give my opinions on it, and I have 1 point for why people say it isn't competitive. To get on with it, right? The one thing that people I end up seeing say a lot when they be like, since the game has a tournament mode, it's got to be competitive, right? I do, or like, let me rephrase that. Since the devs hosted a tournament, the game has to be competitive, and I don't agree with that. Like, fuck no, that's not what that is. First off, I really feel like the game or the tournament was made more so for publicity and engagement with the video game itself, more so than it was for competition's sake, right? The reason why I say this is because the devs ended up announcing this tournament like a month practically, right? It was like a month, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. They announced it damn near a month after the game's release, right? And so by this time, the players haven't had enough time to really sit down and see what was really going on with the game, what was messed up or what wasn't. What's it called? No metas were really able to form solidly at that point in time. People were still figuring it out. Although Yajirobe, obviously, everybody was using the fuck out of Yajirobe, right? God bless the nerd for being daddy. But like, players didn't have enough time really still to even sit down and see, what the game was about really. What were all of the things you can pull off? What was the tech and things of that nature? No meta got solidified yet really by that time. And so I feel like that's one thing, that's a big thing, right? On top of that, obviously the devs didn't even fucking know what was wrong with their game, because we saw how the tournament went, right? They saw how they were manipulating and breaking shit with the androids running around doing whatever the fuck they felt like. And so that tournament was made for like I said, for publicity, to help push out the narrative or to push out the just eyes on the game in general, right? That's what I feel like that was. The organizers didn't even clearly know how to run a tournament. If you look at the rules, I probably have those up on the screen as well. If you look at the rule set, they were so bare bones. They probably hadn't even set up a tournament before, like, period. I don't think or see how you could have. And obviously they didn't spend enough time with their own game to know what type of rules or stipulations they should even put into it. So no, just because the devs ended up hosting a tournament does not make the game inherently competitive. Developers don't decide if a game is competitive or not. But I'm gonna get into that point later. What's it called? For my second point, as far as when people be like, you know, the game's competitive, people always end up saying, oh, well, there's a ranked mode in the game, so it's gotta be competitive, right? Negative, bro. Negative. I don't agree with that sentiment at all. Just because there's a ranked mode in a video game doesn't inherently make it competitive. Think about it. A lot of games have rankings and leaderboards in them, and they're not made to be competitive. Galaga, for instance, think of any old arcade game that wasn't downright competitive. It had a ranked mode and it had a leaderboard. What made that game competitive? The community. Again, that's a point I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna get on later on. But just because a game has a ranked mode or leaderboards does not make it inherently competitive. Nowhere near, right? Because yeah, if they did ended up doing that, right? Like if what did I have here? I'm sorry, I'm like scrambling. Yeah, a ranked mode in a video game is there to give the more dedicated and hardcore player base more incentive to play the game. It prolongs the lifespan of the game, right? Because otherwise you would only have people who were just direct, like die-hard fans of that game on it. You wouldn't have a large player base, really. You would have more of a cult following. And granted, the anime fighting game genre already is a small subcategory in the fighting game community, but just think about it. There was no ranked mode or competitive mode in it, that community will be even smaller, right? So that's one thing about it. People enjoy a sense of achievement in video games. That's why a lot of people play them, right? And there's only so much achievement you can get out of playing and beating the same story mode that's been regurgitated to us over like 1,000 times now in Dragon Ball Z, right? Nobody's gonna get fucking any type of satisfaction out of that, right? People will play the game, they'll probably go to platinum it, and after that it'll just be a game that you just hop on every now and then to go play with the guys or something. You know what I mean? Like that's all it would be if there was no ranked mode in it. For instance, right, think of games like COD, right, Call of Duty, and I'm speaking on like the older Call of Duties, not this new Call of Duty bullshit that they got going on. But in the older Call of Duties, we had a prestige system, right? The prestige system was what kept people coming back and playing the game, right? That was a part of your leaderboards in a way, because once you saw certain people that had that little PNG or that badge next to their shit that let you know you was prestige 5 or some shit, you knew, oh goddamn, bruh, hey, he's cold. He's got to be cold. Like, that nigga's nice. Even if it is just a matter of you playing the game, right? The fact that you were playing the game and working towards something is the point that I'm making. Leaderboard grinding, working for a rank, all of that is supposed to give you a sense of accomplishment through progression, right? Because that's supposed to show that you're getting better at the game. That's practically what it is. So every time, again, we can relate this back to Sparking Zero. Every time you end up going on to ranked and you see that PNG change from fucking D5 to D4 or from fucking B rank to A rank, you get a hit of dopamine. Like, yeah, I did that shit. That's what ranked is for. Is to keep you there to play the game and give you something to work for. Because otherwise, how much fun or how long are you going to be on Sparking Zero and you only playing the guys? How many of your people are still that you probably started playing the game with when it first came out are still playing the game? My point exactly. Got a fucking hair in my mouth. The game, just because a game has a ranked mode does not make it inherently competitive. It's not how that shit works, bro. It's not how that works. To my last point, and this is for the one where people be like, oh, the game cannot be competitive, right? And they say like the game is made unbalanced, so it can't be competitive. You have characters with varying health pools. Obviously fusions have more, higher DP characters have more health. You have stat differentials and things of that nature. I understand that, but that's not a reason why the game can't be competitive. You know what I mean? What did I say in my notes? Just because a game is unbalanced, it has nothing to do with if it can be competitive, right? For example, Mortal Kombat 9, right? If you play, I don't know how many of y'all played Mortal Kombat 9 when that shit was out. The game came out like a hot ass minute ago. When I say hot ass minute ago, I mean like years ago, right? Was I still in high school? Regardless of the point, when Mortal Kombat 9 was out, right, and they ended up running tournaments, there was a character on that motherfucker that was annihilating everybody due to how busted it was, right? That dude was Kratos, right? Shout out God of War. That nigga Kratos was literally like harassing people nonstop in the game. So what did the community do and what did the organizers do? They banned Kratos. You can't use him. Problem solved. Now, since the rest of the cast is for the most part balanced, we can play the fucking game and have a competitive in it. The devs don't inherently make a game competitive, and this is to go back from what I said earlier. The dev team, if devs, if they make a game, they don't decide or dictate if a game is competitive or not. The community does, right? The community is who comes together to hold tournaments and host tournaments. That's how we ended up getting Evo in the first place. A bunch of people came together and wanted to find out who was the coldest at Street Fighter. So that's what they did. They put out flyers and shit. They spread the word and people started pulling up so that way they could have tournaments. They made the game competitive. They made the rules for the game on what can be done and what can't be done. That's how it was. Now a dev team can make a game with competitive play in mind. Again, going back to Street Fighter, because Street Fighter was made in a much more balanced way so that it does help encourage competitive play, right? But they don't dictate if the game is competitive or not. That's not what that is. I'm pretty sure upon the conception of Smash Bros, they didn't say this game is going to be fucking competitive. I doubt that's what the fuck they came up with. If they did, then shit, I guess so. But even still, how long was Smash being played on a casual basis for everybody in the crib before it came into the competitive play? The community made it competitive. So that's what it is. If the Sparking Zero community got over themselves and stopped complaining about shit without giving solutions, and that's the big caveat, because all y'all gonna hear is complaining. If we stop complaining without giving solutions, we would be able to get some shit done. You could have people host tournaments and put stipulations and rules in place in order to make the game, or to make a fun and competitive environment for Sparking Zero, right? So that's who makes the game competitive. If organizers decided, hey, these are the rules that we're putting in place, no MUI, no Super Saiyan, or no fusions, it's just gonna be practically all other characters are in play, but none of that shit you can do, none of the cheese shit like fucking stun key blast loops, or what's it called, if you're using what's that dumbass shit that people be doing now, the vanishing assault, in order to make people drop combos. You can put these rules in place so that way these things can't be done, and that would then make the game competitive and fun, right? So that's how you make that shit happen. That's how we're able to make the game competitive. Like I said, as of right now, the game is close to being competitive with the changes that they made recently, with like in the past update patch that they did. Like, I think it's been like a month now or so, right, since the last update or the big patch. They're moving in the right direction, but as things are concerned, the only reason it can't be competitive, and I'm pretty sure I said this in the beginning of the video, but it can't be competitive right now because there's still too much broken things mechanic wise within the game, right? That still doesn't mean that you can end up doing some things to where you can still have a pretty fun and competitive environment for a tournament. If one, like, you had a bigger YouTuber or some shit host a tournament, right? So that's really all I had to say. Even with those 3 points, this video ended up being fucking 14 minutes long. So I'm about to go ahead and end it here. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you all so much if you made it through to the end. If you guys enjoyed the content, please hit that like button, as it lets the algae know that y'all like what's going on over here, and we get to help grow this community a little bit more. We are closing in on 250 subs already. Y'all been doing y'all thing. I fucks with y'all heavy, for real. If you guys want a place to where you can play the game and you can have fun while playing, you can play to get better, not deal with cheese and things of that nature, add my account, the Just Call Me Sage YouTube or YT account, and I can add you guys to the group chat that I have, where I'm building a little community over there to where those guys hit each other up to go play casuals and have a good time. You know what I mean? It's not all about just the wins. We can end up doing like some lore accurate fights and things of that nature and shit like that. It doesn't have to be all about the wins. You know what I mean? So if you guys want like a more relaxed, you know, area or just place in general to come out, come hang out, chill with the fellas and just play the game on some chill shit, add me so that way we can go ahead and do that, man. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call this a video, bro. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you guys. Hit that sub button and I'll holler at y'all in the next video. All right, y'all, I love y'all. Y'all stay smooth. Godspeed. All right.